one of a more difficult conversation.
Yeah. Because I found you!
As a finance bro is incredibly sexy.
Hey, sorry guys, my camera overheated for some reason. I've never had that issue before, so we had to give it a break. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. It's Cynthia, and I'm joined by a very special guest. This is my husband, Tim, if you guys didn't know. Next question is, did you get more worried about timing of marriage the older you got? What to do when you've been dating for 3 years and you're in your 30s, but he's not popping the Q? In my mind, there was definitely pressure. Ideally, my timeline would have been get engaged at 26, get married at 27, and then maybe by like 28, 29, start trying for babies. That was my old ideal timeline. I definitely was kind of worried when me and my first boyfriend broke up when I was 23 or 24. And so
That's still so young though.
I know, but then it's like you think about as a girl, it's like, okay, well, I dated that guy for 5 years, and so if I'm in another 5-year relationship, and then we break up, then how am I supposed to get pregnant by 30? You know?
Yeah.
So
but with the right person, you'll know within months.
Because I found you. So when I found him, it was kind of crazy because I was still young.
I'm not a lost toy.
I know. But yeah, at 25 or 26 pretty much, I met him, and I didn't think that in a year and a half we would get engaged. That would have been, if you told younger Cynthia that was what would happen, I would have never believed that, But I do think the older you get, the more you know the kind of person you are, what you need your partner to be, and it's quicker for you to realize oh yeah, this is the right person for me. Once you know, so then you move on to getting engaged. So I think once I met him, all my worries about am I gonna the timeline, am I gonna be able to get married, blah blah blah, by a certain time, it all kind of disappeared.
Became irrelevant.
Yeah.
Because you're with the right person.
Yeah.
I think that's the right answer. I mean, look, I think, I'm not a woman, and I definitely understand the biological clock issues, but I also don't necessarily think you want to force yourself down a certain path, or maybe force the person that you're with down a certain path, maybe necessarily just because of that. Cynthia's example is a perfect one, where she had this whole grandmaster, step 1 through Z type of plan, and then right when we started dating, she was like, I just want to, I guess, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you just want to be with me, and that's what's important.
Yeah.
Not exactly. Whether or not he's gonna pop the question in exactly 125 days.
Yeah, but I also had trust that when he was ready, he wasn't just gonna string me along for forever years and not put a ring on it.
Because we had a line on that.
Yeah, we had conversations around what do you want the next step to be? And I knew he was someone who wanted, an engagement and marriage. Those were things that he wanted too. So I just trust that, okay, now that we're in a good situation, when the time is right, he'll feel comfortable when he's ready, he'll do it. For the specific question that you guys asked about, dating for 3 years, you're in your 30s, but he's not asking, I think it's worth a conversation. Again, it might be a difficult conversation, but at least it'll guide you. If you want to be married soon, it'll guide you to either you guys making that decision, or if he's absolutely not, I never wanted to be married in the first place, then maybe he's not the right person for you, or maybe he is and you come around to that. But if he's not the right person for you, then, you guys go your separate ways and you find someone who is.
Yeah. But that's easier said than done.
Yeah, of course.
Every time we hear about our friends going through similar situations, it seems like if it's bound to happen and it's meant to happen, it will naturally matriculate itself that way. But also, on the other end of the spectrum, if it's being forced from normally one party to another party, that's where you see either the forced party kind of does that situation where they're like, do it now, or we're not doing it, or the party that's being forced will kind of just
it's resentment.
Yeah, and then one day just blindside the person and be like, actually, you know what? Not only do I not think I'm ready to get engaged, but I don't think we should be together anymore.
Yeah.
And that's another hard pill to swallow. Like Cynthia said, like I think like over communication on that aspect and setting expectations for not just your partner but for yourself is key. I mean, we're throwing out a lot of advice right now. We don't know that specific situation,
that's true.
That's just a huge disclaimer on everything we just said. But I think those are just like some general practices to keep in mind if you're trying to navigate something like that based on, you know, what we've learned through our own experiences and what we've heard from, you know, our close friends.
Yeah. This is a fun one. How to trap a good finance bro in San Francisco.
Why do they have to say it like that? How to trap
man. That's like Ali Wong, right?
Yeah.
She always says that.
Yeah, is that directed at me?
I don't know.
No, it's directed at you, I think. Because you're
maybe both of us.
You're the trapper. I'm the trappee.
I never felt like I was trapping you, though. But I do think, okay, actually, I have a lot of thoughts. I think dating like a finance bro, they're really busy. So you have to be really independent and be able to, you know, do your own thing, as you should. For me, I feel like, you know, I was working a corporate job. I was starting to do content. I like to go work out. I like to see my friends. So I had such a like busy and full life even before Tim. And so I feel like because I was in a good place and I had a lot of like hobbies and people, even though he was really busy, like it wasn't like, why are we not hanging out? And it wasn't like a huge deal. But I will also like preface that by saying you were always really good about making me feel seen and acknowledged and spending even a little bit of quality time with me despite how busy you were.
Because I wanted to.
Yeah.
But I also think like that's a great point. When we first started dating 4 years ago, I was an associate in investment banking and I was working so hard. Like 2 a.m. average night. Normally,
no, but then he would also like wake up during the night to check things.
Like 4 or 5 a.m.
So he would
give
nap
more comments
in
to my analyst, my poor analyst who's in the trenches with me, and then wake back up at like, you know, 6 or 7 or 8 to like sign off on the final, you know, that sort of thing, but every single night. And I've always felt that, you know, I think a little bit naturally, like when that happens with a partner, either they are super independent and they'll just do their own thing, but kind of in their own vacuum, like, okay, you just do your thing, I'm going to do my thing. Or they naturally become a little like
upset.
Why aren't you hanging out with me? With Cynthia, another reason, just on the alignment thing, like her dad is probably the hardest working man I've ever met in my entire life. And he loves work. And I'm not even saying that lightly. Like he's been essentially doing what I did as an analyst and associate in banking for his entire career. And that includes trips to Asia. So he's not just doing it at home, right? In the comfort of his office and getting sleep in his own bed every night. So that man I have major respect to. Cynthia grew up with that man in his household, and I think as a role model, but also just as a way of understanding, like, this is what hard work looks like. If you want anything good in life, like, this is what it'll take to achieve it. And she just has this deep understanding of that because she grew up with that. And that's what I was trying to emulate too and strive for when I was working in banking. So not only was she just like, okay, you do your own thing, I'll do my own thing, I'm an independent person,
but I was also there to like support.
Or like
I would like cook
dinner, or like just hang out. And I wanted that too, because like she said, I wanted to spend that quality time with her. So she allowed me to have the best of both worlds, which was grind all night and do what I needed to do for myself and my career, but also in pockets here and there throughout the day and throughout the night. Because this was, again, like, it was still pretty COVID-y, so it was like everyone was working from home. She would allow me to have those moments as well. And so you're super understanding. You approach it with a lot of not just understanding, but also with grace. And you gave me a lot of comfort. You never held it against me that I was working that hard. Instead, you tried to support me, and you actually encouraged it, which was like, I mean, that's more than I could even ask for.
In my mind, it's not like he wants to be working all these insanely late hours and only taking 2-hour naps and being in front of his computer. Like, it's not that he doesn't want to have dinner with me. It's because he's truly that busy. So I feel like a lot of girls also complain like, oh, when I'm dating a banker, you know, we have Friday night dinner reservations and like 30 minutes before it gets canceled. And to me, if that were to happen, I feel like you've always been really good about giving me a heads up.
I don't think anything should be canceled 30 minutes in advance.
Really? You think that?
I mean, that's probably a little bit on the guy too, to be like, okay, by like noon, it's just like, this is going to be a late night.
Yeah. Well, they should be a better planner too. But yeah, I feel like you never really put me in that sort of situation, but we were supposed to hang out like on a Friday night. And since Friday nights, you guys are still working because you only have Saturdays technically off or something, right? So I remember sometimes we would plan for like 7 p.m. dinner or something, and then he'd text me maybe around noon and you'd tell me, oh, okay, it's looking busier than I thought. So I think maybe let's do like meet fresh at like 9 p.m., you know? So yeah. So, and I was totally okay being flexible to that because it's not like he's intentionally doing it. So I think just try and be understanding, try and be positive and fun. Like, I feel like finance bros hold a lot of like stress already. So like when they go on a date with you, it should be like a fun thing, not like negative.
Yeah. So I think that's at the outset. I think as the relationship matures, I think it's also really important to be like, there's so many like events or client things like JP Morgan this past year. There was a lot of things that you could just kind of pop by into. And I thought it was so cool. And like all my clients, some of who are my closest friends, but also some of my bosses, you know, just meeting Cynthia and seeing Cynthia is, you know, very charming, very outgoing. She has this glow about her. Like, having her be a part of that is just also like a dream come true because, you know, she's engaging. She's not like, you know, timidly in the corner at the party, just, you know, kind of staring at me, wondering when it's time to go and wondering why I dragged her to this. Like, she's like engaging in conversation. She's like meeting people for the first time and, you know, connecting with them. And she becomes like the life of the party sort of thing. And
you're the life of the party.
But I think that's super important too. And like, that's something that the first thing that we just described is not something that everyone can do. And that's fine. The second thing is also something that I find as a finance bro is incredibly sexy and incredibly like not a lot of people can do that. And I feel very special that you're by my side because of that.
I feel special you're by my side. Finances. This is what everyone has questions about.
Okay, this is like personal finance, not finance bro.
Yes,
finances.
This is personal finances, like as a couple. How did you guys deal with and manage your finances pre-marriage and after? And how do you split finances, expenses as boyfriend, girlfriend living together? Everyone's relationship is obviously very different and everyone's finances and financial situation as a couple is very different. But for us, our salaries are very different. Like, he makes significantly more than I do, and it's always been this way. So for us, he kind of takes care of the larger expenses, and then some of the smaller like day-to-day expenses I'll take care of. So that's kind of how we've always done it, pre-marriage and even now as a married couple. The things that we're starting to now do now that we're married is like open up a joint bank account, because that's something that we've heard from a lot of people. That's kind of the right next thing to do as a married couple. A joint investment account.
I think also like going forward now, the large purchases will now be under both of our names.
Yeah.
Because we're married.
Yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, like, it's pretty much very similar to how we kind of managed when we were dating too.
Yeah. I think everyone is really different though, because I think in a hypothetical situation, if our income was more similar, I think it would be split closer to, you know, like even or maybe 60-40 or something. Kind of the model that I've seen a lot of my friends who they're in relationships where they make pretty much the same thing. That's kind of how they do it. Or based on kind of each person's salary, they'll divide up like, okay, if this person makes, I don't know, X much more, then they'll pay that much more of like rent or mortgage, just so it makes sense.
That's pretty scientific.
Yeah.
I think the way I always thought about it was, you know, at the end of the day, when we started even having to start making these decisions, as in like we were dating seriously and we were living together, I kind of just always thought about it as like, at the end of the day, this is all going to the same place. And so no matter how we split the pie, in the long run, it's not going to make a huge difference.
Yeah. Last last section, my favorite section, marriage.
Marriage.
That's from
This Is Us.
Yeah, one of our favorite TV shows, by the way. So we have kids, we're gonna like rewatch.
No, once you get pregnant, we're gonna watch it, and then we'll watch it with our kids too.
Okay. What is it like merging families after marriage? Kind of like what we were saying earlier, because we're both so aligned and we share so many common values because we grew up in very similar households and backgrounds. It was relatively easy for our families to merge. Like tonight, it's actually Lunar New Year.
Year of the Dragon.
His parents are hosting and my parents are going over to meet us, and we're all gonna have like a joint family dinner. So we grew up actually like 10 minutes apart. Our childhood homes are 10 minutes apart. So our parents live really close. Yeah, we can get everyone together. I think because of the similar background, it just made it very easy. And for my parents, they're a little more antisocial. I was always worried about how like merge and integration would work, but I think because his parents can speak Chinese and his parents also were like born in Taiwan and grew up in Taiwan for a little bit and then came here to the US, like a lot of the fundamental like concepts and the way they talk and think, it's very similar. So I think my parents were really comfortable when they met your parents, and honestly they've become friends, which is a really cute thing. And then you guys saw in my Taiwan vlogs, we did like a joint like Taiwan tour with my family and his family. Yeah, so
the whole combined family.
Yes, so that was
for
really
2 weeks.
Awesome. Yeah,
which
I think that was bonding too. So everyone got to know each other better just because of like proximity and time spent together.
Great. It's been, I think that's one of the things too, it wasn't a non-negotiable, but like as you're dating and getting to know someone and you're starting to align on your values and starting to align on, you know, the background and like getting a sense of where this person came from, sense of their family, the people that raised them, like, yeah, like you naturally also think like, okay, like when you marry someone, you're also marrying their family.
Yeah.
And so if it's going to be a long, successful relationship with this person and with their family, then, you know, you have to have some comfortability around that too. And luckily we've been super lucky that our parents have become fast friends.
Yeah. Which I actually don't think is normal. Like I think a lot of
necessary.
Times, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. How do we spend time together and apart, especially when we're trying to balance work, seeing our friends and family? In our relationship, we're both really busy, but he's the one that's busier in terms of like events and like being gone for the weekend for work trips, a lot of meetings and stuff. And so I try to, and I'm not saying this is the right or wrong thing, it's just something that's kind of natural to me, but I kind of plan my life around his, which sometimes it's tough. We actually had a conversation about this maybe a week or so ago because I do that so...
One of a more difficult conversations.
Yeah.
A difficult topic, if you will.
Yeah. Sometimes when things change last minute, which happens often in his job, it's a little frustrating for me because I'm like, wait, I literally planned certain things so that because you were gone for a certain client dinner, then that's why I plan to do that then. So when things change, it kind of throws me off.
But I will say, these are also things that I'm not demanding.
Yeah.
Or I'm not like prescribing and that's why sometimes, and that's why sometimes we have these misalignments because then I'll be like, oh, by the way, this thing just changed and then now we can't, like, now
and
it's
I'm like, what? Like, I planned something
and then she has a lot of, like, frustration with that change. And then I'm just like, wait, why? Like, and she's like, because I planned this and then this and then this but I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I know. Because basically, if he is home, I would like to be home and I would like to cook dinner for him because he eats out and he's gone so frequently that I know he really enjoys a home cooked meal. So I try to plan around his schedule.
Just an amazing wife. Amazing partner. Like,
I think a lot of it is from seeing how my parents were because that was kind of how my mom was with my dad.
I hope you don't get a lot of hate because I think we are talking a lot about like kind of like traditional gender roles.
Yeah.
And I don't want people to think that you're like subservient to me at all.
Yeah. No.
Because that's not how I think about it at all.
This is truly like the most equal to my partner that I've ever felt, even though I am, I guess, in a little more traditional of a role. But I think a lot of that does stem from my mom being like a housewife and, you know, seeing her do all of these things for my dad. Again, not because he forced that on her, but because that's what she felt like was right for, you know, being a good wife. That was stuff that she wanted to do. So I think a lot of this was naturally like absorbed, osmosis. But it's funny because actually on social media, a lot of girls now are saying like, ooh, I want to live a soft girl life. I want to be in my feminine energy, where you're not like, you're not like the breadwinner or like out there like going crazy hard on your career, but really supporting the man. And I wouldn't say I came into this relationship being like, I'm in my feminine and this is how I want to be. Because I would say actually before Tim, I was very much so. And I still think there is like a masculine side of me where I
wouldn't say it's feminine or masculine, but yeah, like a sort of like more of a ambitious go-getter.
Yeah. But I think people put that under like more masculine energy. Okay. Yeah. Or like, would say that naturally, like he kind of allowed me to be in more of my feminine energy without even like subconsciously, without even like being like, I am going to be in my feminine. But yeah, so we just try to spend as much time as possible together. And then I try to go to as many of his things, whether it's work related or like work fun. For example, tomorrow's the Super Bowl. And do I really care about the Super Bowl? Like maybe to watch the halftime show, Usher. But other than that, I don't really care. Sorry if you're a big Niners fan, but I'm gonna go watch with him because that's quality time that we can have together. And then whenever he's busy, then I'll do my other stuff. And then sure, there's like influencer events and like sometimes, you know, he's home for dinner and I already planned something with a girlfriend and that's totally fine. But I do try to maximize the amount of time that we can spend together.
Yeah.
And he does the same thing too. Like he can pick and choose what he wants to do versus not with his free time. A lot of times he'll just be like, I just want to stay home with me and we'll just watch TV, hang out, go on a walk. Last question, and this is a big question everyone's been asking.
What is it?
When do we plan on having kids? I think it's because I teased it a lot and I'm sorry. Said, you know, I got off birth control, I'm on prenatals. We were in Taiwan, a lot of our family, everyone was like, oh my god, this is the year of the dragon. So
long?
Yeah. Should we have a dragon baby because it's the luckiest?
Funnily enough, we kind of both waver. I think before Cynthia used to be like, I'm ready, and I used to be like, I'm not ready, because at the end of the day, she's my person and we're having kids, so it's whether it's now or in a year or a year and a half, like I don't really feel like grand scheme of things is gonna matter that much.
Pre-wedding, honestly, I was like, honestly, once we get like married, I'm like down to have kids ASAP. And now that
I was the one kind of like not slamming the brakes, but I was just like a little caution.
Yeah.
Like okay, but let's think about that a little bit.
Yeah. Now I'm like, oh my god, that's like now. It feels kind of scary because I still feel like my life is chaotic, disorganized. Like I still feel like I can be a better wife. I still feel like I can be a way better content creator. There's so much content and stuff that I want to build and do for you guys. And I still want to continue growing my relationships with friends and nurture those. And I don't feel like I'm that good of a friend. And my therapist is always like, you're shoulding all over yourself. You shouldn't put that sort of pressure. But I can't
Super
help
ambitious.
I can't help it. So I think it worries me that if this is how I feel right now, introducing a child would be a lot, right? But like to what you said earlier, we are going to have kids eventually. So does it really matter? So I think...
No, I think it matters that you feel as ready as you'll feel.
Yeah.
I think for me, I've come to this point where I've kind of realized that I don't think I'm...
That's cute that you're ready.
I'm ever going to feel like 100% ready. Yeah. Just like I'm going into like board meeting or some important meeting where I'll have studied all the notes and I know what I'm going to say and I know the points that I want to make. Like it's not like that. Like we are going into uncharted territory and there's just a little bit of comfortability that you just need to have around that. And I think I'm kind of there.
Aww.
But at the same time, you know, if you want to be, again, this is like,
I think I just want to do our Europe trip, go to Paris since I've never been to Europe before, explore that, and I need to get my life together a little bit, and then I'll feel good. So maybe like Q3, Q4 of this year.
Get pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah, not have a baby.
Yeah.
Because then we might have another announcement like right now if we're doing the 9 months math correctly. But no. But yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I know you guys have all been like super excited, and we of course like will share that whole journey when it happens, and I can't wait to enter that like next phase with you guys. And I just feel so grateful. You guys have seen me. If you are an OG follower on like TikTok or Instagram, you followed me through like a couple relationships, meeting Tim, getting engaged, getting married, and our next phase of having kids. So it's just really special to share these memories with you guys, these experiences, and it's also really nice when, you know, you guys share with me your experiences too, like with wedding planning, being a mom. So I love the interaction. You guys are amazing. Continue to DM me on Instagram, TikTok, leave comments on YouTube. You guys are truly the absolute best. I think that concludes our relationship Q&A. Do you have any questions?
No, I think that you guys did a great job.
Y'all had great questions.
Hitting all the parts of the journey of our relationship.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we covered a lot of ground today.
Yeah, we did. So to close, we want to wish you guys a happy Valentine's Day. I hope you're spending it with the people you love, whether it's your partner or friends, family. And I just want to say thank you so much for being a part of our journey, for supporting us. And if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. If you like this video, you want to see more of Tim, hit the like.
her. She's the star.
No.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much. We love you, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.